brought to you by Bethel School of Technology. Learn more at betheltech.net/Ken Coleman. All right, staggering number here for you. The National Center of Education Statistics projects 2.1 million new bachelor's degree graduates coming out. Ho, baby. Here we go. A new wave. That number seems very large to me. Goodness gracious. I feel like that number should be way less. People should be going to trade schools and just going straight from high school. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. If LeBron James can go straight from high school to the NBA, we should be having kids going straight from high school to the pros. All right? But that's not the topic of this segment, but this is fascinating. So that'll give you some context here, okay? So 2.1 million new graduates leaving college, and now they got to pick a place to work. And so the best cities to start a career in 2024 by Wallet Hub. This is a new study. They compared 182 cities that included the 150 most populated U.S. cities, plus at least 2 of the most populated cities in each state. So that's how they came up with the 182. Kelly, the associate producer, is very sassy, and she has an opinion. I may draw on her for this. We shall see. This is fascinating. We're going to look at the list. Kelly, tell everybody how old you are.
I'm 28.
You're 28. So it wasn't that long ago that you had to decide to leave the mother state, which is Georgia.
It is.
And by the way, what did you do? Where did you go straight out of college?
I actually moved here 9 years ago, went to college in Nashville, and I've stayed ever since.
Okay, so you came to college in Nashville. Where did you go?
Trevecca.
You went to Trevecca?
I did.
Oh, wow. This is get to know your team day. It occurs to me I probably should have asked all these questions a lot earlier. Okay, so you decided to stay in Nashville.
I did,
okay.
Yeah.
And boy, this is nerve-wracking. Are you happy with your choice?
I mean, I think it turned out pretty well.
I think so, too. I think you got one of the greatest jobs in the world working with a really spectacular guy.
Wow, yeah, Dave's pretty great.
Touche. Touche. Well played. Okay, so it's not been that long since you made this decision. And by the way, I'd be interested to know, Alex, the data on, see if somebody could pull this up. In fact, Kelly, instead of making fun of me, maybe you could actually do something productive in there and see what is the percentage of college students who stay in the city of their college. I think that's interesting because I think it's a pretty good chunk. But anyway, let me know when you have that and we'll dive in here. Okay, now, so here we go. So, do I have a? I don't have a drum roll. We don't need it. Okay, the top city in America to start your career, Kelly, you're going to like this, is Atlanta, Georgia.
Feels like fake news to me.
It's not fake news. It's listen, I'm just telling you, Atlanta traffic is awful. You have to go through Atlanta to go to hell. All right, it's not a theological statement. Alex, that's not a theological statement. That's a geographical statement. And Kelly, you know what I'm talking about. You start talking about 400 and 285, and that's where the devil and all of his demons hang out. And I'm just telling you, whether you go to hell by plane or car, you are going through Atlanta. It's the first threshold of hell. So I get why, Kelly's not excited about Atlanta, but it's the number one. Why? The average household income is $79,000, and it has the highest annual growth in household income at 8.9%, and plentiful amounts of entry-level jobs with highly rated companies. And that's why Atlanta, Georgia is number one on the list. Okay, top 10 cities. Orlando, Florida, not far behind. Salt Lake City jumps in at number 3, which I think is really fascinating. Tampa, Florida, number 4. Not surprising, by the way. So 2 things. Salt Lake City, good tax situation, and it's beautiful. Outdoors. You ever been to Salt Lake? Any of you in there? None of you. Really? Not Bob, you haven't even been to Salt Lake City? Well, I tell you what, you need to start living. Salt Lake City, Utah, gorgeous. Clean city, all the favor of a metropolitan city, but super close to amazing outdoor activities. And so a lot of people are moving there. Very quiet, very clean, very safe. Now, here's what shocks me. Okay. Tampa makes total sense. Tampa's gorgeous. Tampa, St. Pete area. Again, gorgeous weather. The water's phenomenal. The sand is literally sand from heaven. It's unbelievable. The sand, by the way, on the Gulf side of Florida, that's what sand in heaven is going to look like. I'm just going to let you know. It's not brown. It's beautiful. Now, here's what shocks me. Number 5 in best cities to start a career is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We're talking about the Steel City. I'm a little surprised by that. Portland, Maine. You never see Portland, Maine. But again, it's got to be the outdoor component, and again, you're always going to look at income here, and you're looking at opportunities to start. We'll round out the top 10 with Charleston, South Carolina, in my opinion, one of the best cities in the South. You're shaking your head, Kelly. You have a strong opinion on Charleston. Why?
Obsessed.
Why are you obsessed with Charleston?
It's stunning. It feels like Nashville, but on the beach.
100%. And you've been there, I assume. I hope you're not just giving me this opinion from a brochure that you've read.
No, I have Instagram pics to prove I've been there.
Okay, good. I love Charleston. My nephew, Colin, just started his first job right out of college in Charleston. He was just at our house last week. He loves it. Charleston, South Carolina, great foodie town, Kelly. You've got the beach, great culture, the cobblestone streets, all the things. All right. Rounding out the top 10, Charleston was 7, Austin, Texas, 8, Miami, Florida, 9. And again, the only 2 cities that shock me on this list, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at 5, and Knoxville, Tennessee at 10. I don't believe it. I don't get it. I'm not a huge Knoxville fan. But, all right, now, let's switch gears quickly. Then we're going to get to another fun little article about super commuting, okay? Here we go. The worst 10 cities. 10 worst cities to start your career. Anybody want to take a guess? Did you cheat, Alex? You know. Anybody in there? I'm picking on Kelly. Do you know? Have you looked at the article? That's not fair. Okay. Number 1 of the top 10 worst cities to start your career is New York City. Look, folks, it's just too expensive. I love going up there. I was up there last week. I go up all the time. I love the Big Apple, but I'm visiting. If you're a kid coming out of college, you're going to live at almost poverty level, and you're going to have a couple of roommates that are rats. It's just the reality, okay? All right. Bridgeport, Connecticut, super expensive. Pembroke Pines, Florida, don't know anything about it, but my guess is everybody there is 82 years of age or older. A lot of shuffling and a lot of shuffleboard, if you know what I'm saying. Detroit, Michigan, Newark, New Jersey, down on the list. Jackson, Mississippi. And then Oxnard, California. Never heard of Oxnard. I wouldn't want to work in Oxnard. I wouldn't want to live there. It's hard to say. Don't like anything about it. So there you go. So what are you looking for? You are looking for average household income, the annual growth in household income, the amount of entry-level jobs, and highly rated companies. That's what you're looking for, youngsters. And did anybody pull up the data for me on the percentage? What do we have? Percentage of students who, like Kelly, the associate producer, stayed in the city. What do we got?
61%.
61% of college students stay in the city. That's fascinating. Honestly, a little higher than I thought, but I like when I'm right. I'm rarely right. I've been married 26 years, have 3 teenagers. The amount of times I'm right in my own house, very, very small. I like that. So here's the point. If that number continues to hold, you better choose your college pretty well, right? Because if it's kind of like, I'm here, I got friends here, I've got a base, I want to stay here. Here's the question. Is your college town a good town to start your career in? Okay. One other quick thing I'm going to pivot to. Another quick article, because this is related to where you work. Super commuting is on the rise. The average commute for Americans right now is 26 minutes. But what does a super commute look like? A super commute is defined by a 3-hour commute. Good heavens. That's not super. That's silly. Okay? I don't get that. They cite in this Business Insider And I'm going to give you a quick story on this. A guy who actually represents, his name is Lee Robinson. By the way, if the average commute is 26 minutes, his is 17 times that. Holy smokes. You ready for this? Here's his day. When he has to go in. More on that in a second. Lee Robinson gets up at 5 in the morning, drives to the airport in Des Moines, Iowa. Hops on a 6 a.m. flight to Denver, Colorado, waits for his connection at the airport, boards a second flight to San Francisco, takes an Uber to the city's financial district where he works as a VP of developer experience at a tech startup. Door to door, the trip takes 7.5 hours. Now, the good news, he's not doing that 5 days a week, obviously. They want him there 1 to 2 times a month to attend executive meetings. So that's a super commute. He's not doing that every day, but it's a little ridiculous. Now, here's what he says. He said, if you'd have told me 3 to 5 years ago that it's possible to have an executive role at a fast-growing private technology company from Des Moines, Iowa, I would have been very excited. When I went to school for software engineering, I thought the only option was San Francisco or the Silicon Valley. And again, so this super commuter term is people who average at least 3 hours traveling to and from the office each day. And again, that's a 90-minute one-way, 90-minute back, just to give you a real example. And this is on the rise. And the reason is because among those who work from home during the pandemic, which is a lot, 46% now are on a hybrid schedule compared with 34% who are fully on site and 20% who are fully remote. So all that to say, if you can pull that off, because we get this question a lot on this show and in the Ramsey show. And what I mean by pull that off is it is not hurting you financially, and it is not hurting you emotionally, and it's not hurting you relationally. If it's not hurting you and it's not causing you to suffer in any of those 3 areas, then I say go ahead with your super commute. But if it's hurting you in any one of those areas, it is going to eventually really knock you out. It could have detrimental effects on your life. Nothing is worth that. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Launch your tech career today at betheltech.net/Ken Coleman.